Angela Merkel's memoir, Freedom, was recently launched. Decca Aikenhead interviewed Mrs. Merkel for the Sunday Times magazine, noting that she carries herself with a self-contained air of stillness. At the end of a photo shoot, both the journalist and photographer's assistant simultaneously exclaimed, "It's like she can see everything. When she looks at you, you feel as if you are being scanned by a human X-ray machine." Merkel grew up under a communist regime and shares life in East Germany was lived constantly on the edge. You might wake up in the morning without a care in the world, but if you overstepped a political boundary, everything could change in seconds, putting your whole existence at risk. Angela studied physics, and in her 20s, when the Stasi tried to recruit her as an informant, she followed her mother's advice and told them she was far too indiscreet to be a spy, which could not have been further from the truth. The scientific training she was driven into taught her the methodical logic to which many admirers attribute her strategic success. Her distrust of extremes, belief in steering a middle course, and faith in humanity's capacity to integrate and unite may all owe their origins to the first half of her life. At her meeting in 2007 with President Putin, the Russian president brought his black Labrador along to the meeting, knowing perfectly well that she was scared to death of dogs. And Merkel writes, "I could tell from Putin's facial expressions that he was enjoying the situation." On Christmas Day 2024, President Putin launched over 170 missiles and drones on Ukraine's power grid. Putin attacked Ukraine's energy system on the day that Ukraine celebrated Christmas on December 25th for just the second time, having changed the celebration from January 7th in 2023. Epiphany, which we celebrate this weekend, is the church season in which God's light is revealed in the world, when glory is made manifest. Advent, Christmastide, and Epiphany form the season of light, light that interrupts and explodes into the night's darkest hour. Although it is still dark in the world, although evil and death still have their time, the light cannot be contained. This weekend, we grasp the power of the symbolism of light and its confrontation with those who are intent on shutting it out, ignoring it, or covering it up. The scriptures tell of the wise ones searching, wanting to offer their gifts and homage, and to align themselves with what is being born on the earth. They stumble into Herod's palace, the domain of those who care only for their own place in the world. And they announce a new presence, a new king on the earth. As soon as the wise ones leave Herod's place, a place of intrigue and plots, the star finds them again and leads them home. It is as if the star was waiting for them to pass through the glaring lights of evil and violence so that they can see more clearly what they are following. In 2015, in response to the Syrian refugee crisis, Merkel abandoned a lifetime of consulting allies to reach a consensus before announcing a policy and threw open Germany's borders to 1 million refugees from the Middle East. Supporters across the world rejoice. Thousands of Germans greeted the refugees at railway stations, and Time magazine named her Person of the Year. Others were mystified, though, and public opinion quickly soured. When quizzed about her approach to the Syrian refugees in 2015, Merkel answers, "I feel that our values were put to the test. Political intrigue and plots are today all too common. Violence and efforts to crush the light still prevail. Epiphany is a time to search our soul and ask ourselves, what are our core values? It is a time to recall how the wise ones in the scriptures learned to go home by another way. It is the season to hear again the Epiphany tale of a journey towards a horizon that is about another way to live, another way to love, another way to belong, another way to show forth the glory of God. Amen."